Men had their dreams come true, and it was, again, a night completely different from any NFL draft past. And we start with all the big storylines that came through last night. And it began, of course, as expected, with the Bengals taking Joe Burrow, #1 overall. He's the second player in the common draft era to win the Heisman, the national championship, and then go #1 overall in the same year. Cam Newton was the first. The Dolphins then took Tua at #5. He's the second Alabama quarterback drafted in the first round in the common draft era. Just the sixth left-handed quarterback ever to go in round 1. Very next pick, the Chargers took Justin Herbert with hopes that he will ultimately become Phillip Rivers' replacement. He was most recently MVP of the Senior Bowl. And then just when it seemed like everything was going to be quiet last night, the huge surprise, the Packers, with Aaron Rodgers still very much on the team, trading up to take Jordan Love with the 26th pick. Here's the man who made the decision.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't connected with Aaron yet, but he's obviously been through this, and he's a pro, and I think it's it's certainly, this is something that is a long-term decision. I think when you go through kind of the way things went tonight, you're weighing the short term and the long term, and we got the best quarterback in the National Football League, and we plan to have him for a while, competing for championships. So I can understand the fan base and people thinking kind of, why would you do this at this time? But I just think the value of our board and the way it's at, it was the best thing for the Green Bay Packers. We're really excited to get Jordan here and get him into our system.
Those are answers, but they're not all of them. Here's Adam Schefter, our insider extraordinaire. Shefty, why did the Packers draft Jordan Love last night?
Ultimately, because they loved him. I'm looking over my pre-draft notes this morning, Greeny, and someone said to me before this draft that Matt LaFleur, the Packers head coach, would mandate his selection if it got to a certain point in the draft. Now, I don't think that we thought that point would be in the first round where the Packers would aggressively trade up to go get him. But keep in mind a couple of things here. When Brett Favre was 36 years old, entering his age 36 season, that was when the Green Bay Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers in an unexpected way. Aaron Rodgers will be 36 years old this season. He has openly talked about the fact that he's close to the end of his career. He's done it on a few different occasions. And I think the Green Bay Packers have heard those words, and they saw a quarterback that they loved, and they decided to pursue that quarterback. It's also interesting, this is a page from the Kansas City Chiefs playbook. This is exactly what the Chiefs did with a quarterback that was drafted in the same draft class as Aaron Rodgers. They did it to Alex Smith, taking Patrick Mahomes, giving him time to learn for 1 year under Smith, and then going ahead and giving him the job. Now, again, Aaron Rodgers is further along in his career, more accomplished than Alex Smith, as great as Alex Smith has been. But the Green Bay Packers have put Aaron Rodgers on the clock, and the clock is now running.
Absolutely. So now should we explain to our audience what the Packers' plans for Aaron Rodgers are going forward?
Well, we got dogs in the background barking here, Greeny. I apologize about that.
It's okay.
But the plans going forward here is essentially a situation. Hold on. Hey, can you please shut my door? This is unbelievable. This is the way of the world right now. What are we going to do? Basically, their plans for Aaron Rodgers, they can take their time grooming Jordan Love. He's 21 years old. They don't have to rush him along. They will want to have Aaron Rodgers going along, playing for the next couple of years. We don't know how long it is, but he's got 4 years left on his contract. And so if you see a quarterback that you love in Jordan Love, which they did, you go pick him and you have a quarterback asset. In the event that Aaron Rodgers decides to walk away and call it a career, in the event that Jordan Love develops in the way that they want him to, there's no rush right now. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, it may take 4 years, it may not happen at all. But they identified an asset in Jordan Love, and quarterbacks are currency. And the Packers drafted currency last night.
I get it, but the one thing I can tell you is that I understand what dogs are saying, and your dogs were barking at you. But hold on a minute. This team was in the NFC Championship game last year. They were one game away from the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you get Aaron Rodgers some help so they can win it this year? What's the answer?
Well, that is the whole argument, and that's what makes it surprising and interesting and something in which Aaron Rodgers cannot be pleased. We saw his former head coach go to Dallas, and in his first year as a head coach there, the Dallas Cowboys, who don't even need it, give him arguably the top wide receiver in this draft in CeeDee Lamb. Aaron Rodgers is watching Mike McCarthy get CeeDee Lamb. He watches himself get a backup quarterback to be his successor. That's not what he wanted. The Packers haven't used a first-round pick on a skilled offensive positional player in 15 years. The last time they had done it was 2005 for a quarterback. They've never given him a running back in the first round. They've never given him a wide receiver in the first round. They've never given him a tight end in the first round. You would have thought this would have been the time in a draft that's loaded with wide receivers. And instead, they trade up and take his successor. And that's why this pick is going to generate as much conversation as it will over the coming days and weeks.
And certainly the coming 2 hours. Shefty, outstanding. Thank you. And we will check back in again with you on a very busy day. Now, I should point out, if the Packers try and move on from Rodgers in the next 2 seasons, it'll be devastating to their cap. They'll be looking at dead money figures over $40 and $30 million in the next 2 years, respectively. In 2022, it becomes much more manageable as you see the numbers on your screen. Rodgers, let's make sure we play this for you. He was on ESPN Radio in Milwaukee just a month ago and had this to say about what his thoughts would be if the Packers took a quarterback.
Look, I mean, I'm a realist. I know where we're at as an organization and where I'm at in my career. I still feel like I have a ton of years left playing at a high level. I'm confident enough. I've always felt like it doesn't matter who you bring in, they're not going to be able to beat me out anytime soon. So I feel really confident about my abilities and my plays.
All right, so that's what he said beforehand. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the room he was sitting in last night when this happened. Orlovsky, Spears, and Rex are with me this morning, and there'll be plenty more to come. I should point it out to you, Dan, this way. April 23rd, 2005, the Packers take Aaron Rodgers with the 24th pick. 15 years later to the day, they take Jordan Love, ostensibly his replacement. Did you like the move or not?
I like the move, Greeny. I'm shocked that the Packers actually did it. They chose the future over the present. The thought process is the accurate thought process. But, and I said this to you guys last week, get ready to have the same conversations that we just had about the New England Patriots and Tom Brady, and get ready to have them about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, because we all talked about how the Patriots failed Tom Brady at the end of his career to surround him with talent, and the Packers are very much so doing the same with Aaron Rodgers. And all this does to me, it signals the beginning of the end for Aaron Rodgers and his time in Green Bay.
No question about it. Marcus, put yourself, we do a segment here called Swagoo Says, where you interpret what people say. We haven't heard from Aaron yet, but let's do it in advance. What do you think Aaron Rodgers was saying last night when this pick was made?
Aaron Rodgers said, "Oh, really? This is my opportunity to bounce out of here." Listen, this is one of those situations. Last night, Dan and I were talking. This is one of those situations where at some point Aaron Rodgers is going to request his removal from Green Bay. Look, we've had multiple conversations about how these quarterbacks' egos and how well they played over time plays into their decision making, just like it did in Tom Brady's with him wanting to exit. Now you look at Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be in that position, who said he's confident that he can beat anybody out. It won't be long, maybe after this season, that we hear Aaron Rodgers either wants out of Green Bay or it is turmoil happening behind those organizational doors, man.
I'll remind everyone again, Rex, Ryan, they were in the NFC Championship game last year. What did you think of this move last night?
Whew, I tell you what, I mean, I was shocked just like anybody else. You would think you're one game away from a Super Bowl. So to me, it's like, let's try to go for it right now, give Aaron Rodgers some weapons. Instead, they did just the opposite. However, when you look at this move was done 15 years ago. As you said, Greeny, it was probably the greatest trade-up in the history of the game. When the Packers went up and got Aaron Rodgers. So they're seeing it as an organization, hey, let's do it again. See if lightning can strike twice. So Jordan Love, we all know this guy's got a phenomenal upside. He just needs time. Well, he's got the benefit of time right now. I agree with Dan that this is a move based on the future and not the present. To me, it's tough to make, and quite honestly, I can't wait to hear about that first conversation Matt LaFleur has with Aaron Rodgers. We know we'll never hear the real truth about it, but that's going to be a super difficult conversation.
Tell me about it, Rex. You're the coach now, and you have to do it. I mean, Dan and Marcus just told us he's going to be salty. I think all of us recognize he's going to be. When you're the coach, what's the first thing you say to him?
First thing you say is that, hey, look, this is based on, an opportunity for our organization to get a guy, 4 or 5 years down the road that can really help us. That's what he's got to say to him. Okay, but quite honestly, this change could happen. I don't disagree with you guys. This change could happen. Is it next year or the following year? It's going to be sooner than that. So to me, it's a difficult conversation. Look, it was kind of bumpy to begin with when that offense wasn't clicking. And then what happened? They started winning, got on a little bit of a roll. We saw the hugging, we saw all that kind of stuff. But to me, it seemed, it was more based on the fact they were having success. We're going to find out about that relationship right now, but it's it's really interesting. It was a move by Matt LaFleur that took a lot of courage. So hats off to him.
Go ahead, Dan. When Matt LaFleur says this is a move about the future of our organization, what does Aaron say back?
But what about right now? This is a win-now league, and your job is to help me win right now. Listen, this is an interesting pick, but what is most important now for the Packers is what they do at pick 62. We've talked about the depth of the wide receiver class. There's still Higgins, there's still Mims, there's still Duvernay, there's still Pittman, there's still Claypool. So for Packers fans, if you can get one of those receivers and Jordan Love, this was a really, really good move. This still could turn out in a positive fashion for the Green Bay Packers, for Aaron Rodgers and their organization moving forward.
I don't buy it. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I definitely don't buy it. I have to leave it here for the moment, but we have much more to be said about this